As I just mentioned briefly, that we have a center proposal which we are calling IRIS, which stands for Interdisciplinary National Research Center for Innovations in Spectrum. It's a project involving a number of partners which are listed here: Rutgers, Columbia, NYU, Arizona, Princeton, UT Austin, Oregon State, and Syracuse. And through the day, you will see many of the speakers are from these institutions, and you'll be able to get an idea about the types of technical approach and discussion that this project will have. Okay, so just to give you a bird's eye view of the team as a starting, we have a project team that, as I said, consists of these 8 universities, and I'm not going to go through the individual names here. There are many people here you obviously recognize, and I think it represents a broad cross-section of research expertise in the area of spectrum and wireless in the US. And we are very happy to be working together on this effort. Okay, so that's the team. And in terms of the mission of this center that we are talking about, so this is still a proposed center. I would point out it hasn't happened yet. We are in the process of preparing a plan and full proposal. The mission of the center is supposed to be to create a focal point for US academic research, which is going to focus on efficient spectrum use via innovations at the system architecture level, core technology level, as well as the applications. The research agenda that we have in mind is very comprehensive. It involves it has 2 pillars. One of them is the efficient spectrum use, which is based on a holistic cross-layer and data-driven system architecture, which exposes a lot of the parameters associated with radio transmission and makes it possible to process, analyze, infer, do many things that you cannot do in today's world, but with a better cross-layer data-driven architecture, we'll be able to do all those things. So you'll hear some talks about that today as well. The center's research agenda also focuses on exploring new frontiers in spectrum, such as terahertz communication, and you'll hear from my colleague Ted Rappaport about that topic, as well as many other enabling wireless technologies which allow you to boost spectrum use. There will be an extensive outreach program which includes collaboration with industry on pre-competitive technologies. We will have a process for working with industry, for working with government, and trying to get input, technical input and requests for policy analysis and such from various government agencies, including the FCC and NTIA. And then finally, education and training spanning both K-12 and beyond, undergraduate, graduate, and mature workforce development. These are all part of the overall program that we have in mind. So this is just a picture to show you the scope of our research. As I mentioned before, there is a central component in the middle, which is the information architecture for spectrum, which is a cross-layer control plane into which you can plug in different types of radio technologies from below, as well as spectrum measurements, and feed that into this control plane that then enables various kinds of cloud-based or network-based spectrum algorithms and makes it possible to work on various scenarios, which include licensed spectrum, shared spectrum, and unlicensed spectrum. But we are also interested in supporting scientific uses such as radio astronomy, which is shown in the right-hand side of this picture, and satellite. And the idea is to provide better tools for avoiding interference into these very critical scientific applications. And another aspect that our project includes is that of spectrum markets and trying to create more efficient ways of business models for spectrum and making it possible to trade and share spectrum much more dynamically than is possible today. Okay, so I'll conclude just by saying that you will hear something about IRIS pilot projects today as part of this planning effort. We are doing this workshop. We are also going to report on 3 pilot projects which have been going on as part of this grant. And the 3 are shown here in pictures, and you'll hear more about them in detail. One of them is the terahertz experiment at NYU. Another is a dynamic spectrum, the National Radio Dynamic Zone, which the acronym is NRDZ, prototype running on the Cosmos testbed in New York City. My colleague Ivan Sesker will speak about experiments of that nature that we're doing there. And finally, there is a radio astronomy coexistence project that's being done at Arizona, and my colleague Marwan Kruns will be speaking about that. You'll hear about some of the challenges associated with radio astronomy. Okay, so that is all I had to say today. If you're interested in the project, you can contact us later about more details about the proposal. But in the meantime, let's have an open discussion about the many topics that are being covered today. And we hope to also encourage some question and answers and discussion at different points in today's agenda.